Hey everybody, welcome to a Monday edition Box Seats. I'm your host, Frank Holder, moving a little slow this morning, long weekend. You guys know how that goes. This is, of course, the show called Box Seats where we talk about comedy and we talk about sports. We blend the two. And then, of course, we have the comics talk about and give all of their thoughts on what happened in the sports world from the night before, just, in general. That's how we do it. First up is comedian known as Talent. How was your weekend, bro, and how's things?
Oh man, stupendous, Frank. We in the building, baby. I'm like you. I had a long weekend, but
Yeah.
I'm in the building, brother. I'm here. I'm here to make it happen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Next up is my man Fig. Fig, how you doing today, bro?
Man, I'm doing great, and all my weekends are long.
Okay, let's get this thing started off popping like how we always do. The first thing up I always do is what I always talk about is the COVID report. And the first thing in the COVID report is interesting is that we have the 2015 former U.S. Open winner, Zach Johnson. He was playing golf this Saturday and Sunday, getting ready to join the U.S. Open again this weekend, and he got disqualified. Why? Because he got COVID. Nothing crazy about that, but it seems like it's still haunting us. Talent, what's your thoughts?
Absolutely, it's gonna keep haunting us, Frank. I mean, just as something, it hit home this past week. Week and a half. My son had COVID, so it's not going. People got to understand it's not going. We're working in through this. We're still in it,
sir. So, Fig, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Next up, my man Fig. Fig, how you doing today, bro?
What's your thoughts on this?
Man, I'm doing great, and
I absolutely concur with Talent. This thing is definitely not over. If you pay close attention to the news and what's going on, we have a new variant, and it's spreading, and I believe it's only going to get worse.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. The funny thing is I don't know what happened to Talent. The wholehearted thing is I don't know what's going to happen. Is that it seems that as the Olympics are going, as the things are going, people just it's just going to happen. You know what I mean? It's just going to happen, continue to happen.
You know what's sad, Frank? In the Olympics, when they put out a disclaimer, that's scary, man. Whenever somebody puts out a disclaimer, that means this thing is dangerous enough to kill you or give you some kind of long-lasting negative effects, and we're trying to avoid a lawsuit.
Oh, I agree with that. I think that the concern now also is that the golfers don't want to travel together in a group. They don't want to be able to say, hey, you know what? You guys knew we had it. You put us all together. And now you put it all together that now I got COVID and I wasn't having it before and everything else. You know what I mean? I think it's that concern. So he got disqualified immediately. But now let's jump into, of course, we got to jump into the show. Before I even say let's jump into the show, if you want to join the conversation and you want to be able to have a conversation with Talent or Fig, I put the link in the conversation box. All you got to do is click that link on. You can join the conversation and talk to these guys and ask them whatever you want to ask them. But the next thing I got to talk about, I don't know if you guys heard about this, but there was the linebacker for the Atlanta Falcons. His name is Barkevious Mingo. You guys probably know about him. You guys should know about Barkevious because he's one of the best linebackers the Atlanta Falcons have. Talent. He got cut this weekend over allegations that he was messing with a child. Now, the exact allegation is that there was two young boys 2 years ago. He had in his camp and everything else. He brought him to a hotel. They basically were, traveling together and everything else at his camp. And that he supposedly went in one of the boys' room and he slept in one of the boys' room with him. And he put his thing, his thingy in between the boys' butt cheeks. You know what I mean? And of course, and that happened supposedly 2 years ago. Now the accusation is by a female. I think it's his mother or his sister or something like that. But somebody's making that accusation against him. Here's the thing too, Talent. All of the charges haven't been gone through yet and everything else. But when Atlanta Falcons found out about this, they cut him immediately. What's your thoughts on this? Now all the charges and stuff not even come up yet, but they cut him immediately. Talent can't hear you. Go ahead.
Yo, that's so crazy, bro. That right there, man. That's one of those things, man. In life, I play with a lot of things. I do not play with that at all. We're being jokesters, and Fig could tell you, comedians don't have many boundaries and lines, but I don't play with that at all. If this is true, we see these allegations come and go. Sometimes they're true, sometimes they're not. People are scorned and want to drag people through the mud. But dude, I don't blame them for detaching right away and letting them go right away. I know, is innocent until proven guilty and what like that. But when you talk about kids, man, you got to take every precaution that's available to you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but on the flip side of that, Fig, I agree with cutting him and all that stuff. I agree with all of that. But on the flip side of that, what happens to Fig if this is an accusation made by a disgruntled young lady? You know what I mean? And that's very possible because the kids never came, and they're teenagers. They never said anything. They never said anything about any of this incident. And here's the big thing. It happened 2 years ago. Now, what's your thoughts on this, Fig?
Oh, and this is a tough one for me, man, because, first off, let me just say this. I always am on the side of the accused because I believe that people are innocent until proven guilty. That's just the way it should be. To be accused of something like this is so horrible that even the accusation alone is just damning. That would be one of the worst accusations that anybody, above anything, above murder, kidnapping, bank robbery, anything, to be accused of molesting a child, to me, is one of the worst things that anybody could accuse you of doing. And the only way to prevent somebody from doing it falsely is that if they're found to be lying, then they have to face the same penalty as the person that they accused.
That would be, I absolutely love that. I just don't know how you do that in the United States. You know what I mean? I don't know how that happens, but I agree with that.
I totally agree with that.
I totally agree with it too. I think that's what it should be. I don't know if it could happen in the States, but the thing is about these athletes is when they have these breakups with these females and everything. Now, I'm not saying this is what happened, but we all know that there have been some women who have accused some of these athletes some horrendous things and has ruined their career. It's ruined their career. Now, it could be a fact. This could be a fact that has happened. It could be. My only concern is it happened 2 years ago with two boys at a camp. He's had this camp thing since. You know what I mean? If this woman who came forward knew this, my concern is if you knew what happened 2 years ago, why didn't you say it before? Because you knew you brought him in on the same situation. He did it again. You know what I mean? He had the camp again. Not that he did the act again. He had the camp again. And now coming on year 3, now you decide to say something. That's my problem with that.
Well, I will say this. Frank. When it comes to this type of thing, I do believe in giving leadway and discretion when it involves kids and minors as opposed to the adult. Mm-hmm. Kids are more prone to internalize stuff, bring it in, and try to act like it didn't happen, or because they're confused. You catch a kid in a certain way, they got to be confused of what's going on. So I can see a couple of years later, somebody is slipping out, and somebody going, "Wait a minute, say that again," and get the story, and then they bring it forth because it's a little delayed because that's the way the kid's brain works. They internalize a lot of things and sometimes regurgitate them way down the line. Anybody who's a parent knows that. But an adult, when you're an adult and you know what's going on, to me that's a different ballgame. To me, you're making a conscious decision to hold it back for however long. When you do it delayed like that as an adult, that's a decision, as opposed to a kid who don't know what the hell's going on. Their mind works in a weirder way. The mind hasn't formulated yet.
Yeah, I agree with that part. Phil, you want to respond to that comment?
No, man, I just agree with. I agree with what Talon is saying a lot this morning, man. This is just horrific, and children, they may not have the proper language to articulate exactly what happened to them, or maybe embarrassed. When you're talking about a boy or a young man, or anybody, male or female, they might be embarrassed. You know what I mean? To come out and say something, or, especially against an adult or somebody that they idolize or whatever and stuff like that. It could be a bevy of variations around this thing where, a kid just might not say anything, and it may come out later.
All right. His attorney came out this morning and said that not only does he wholeheartedly deny all this stuff, he said he's going to fight this tooth and nail, and he wants all the truth to come out. So, because Barkevius Mingo does not want this to be part of his legacy, which I can understand that too. The thing is, if you didn't do it, you'll fight it tooth and nail. I know I would. You fight it tooth. Now, on the flip side of that, let me tell you about the next story. The next story, there's a former MMA fighter. He died over the weekend. He committed suicide in prison, in a jail cell, because he got charged with child pornography, in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. He was 44 years old. He literally committed suicide. He hung himself. Now, when you hear the child pornography stuff that happened with him, all this tells me is that if you're killing yourself on this, that means to me that it looked like you did it. You know what I mean, Talent? What you think?
Yeah, it definitely gives off that look and that perception. Because when people accuse you of something that you did not do, your reflex is to fight and defend. That's anything. It could be anything as light as shoplifting. Oh, I ain't steal nothing. You go defensive right away. You fight it to clear your name. That's just a natural human reflex when accusations come in, allegations. When you take yourself out, yeah, you pretty much you give off the perception of you can't face it. What you've done has come to light, and you just can't take it and face it. Face the people in your life, your loved ones. You can't explain it. There's no coming back from that. So it's better off me just not dealing with it.
Yeah, Greg, I agree with Talent. I think shame takes over. I think shame is the one thing that puts you in the bucket, especially with child pornography. If you did it, everything else, shame is But if you didn't do it and somebody accuse you of child pornography, I think that you will fight that tooth and nail to the last man standing, screaming like, "No, I don't want that to be part of me. I didn't do it. I ain't taking no deals. You know what I mean?" That's what I think. What you think, Fig?
I agree to a certain extent. The way I draw the line is that if you're in jail, prisoners dish out their own form of punishment, and maybe that's what he couldn't deal with, the punishment that he was getting in the prisons, and decided to take his life that way. There's been a plenty of men that have been in prison and had things happen to them, and they couldn't handle that mentally and made that one to kill themselves. So I don't know whether it was what was happening to him while he was locked up or the accusation itself that made him check out.
Now, normally I would say that you're right, Fig. My only issue I have with that statement you said is that this dude is a former MMA fighter. Ain't too many people in jail who are going to be able to beat that dude. He's an MMA fighter. You know what I mean? Unless I
don't think they attack you one-on-one.
That's what I was about to say. Unless they ganged up on him. If they ganged up on him, I think you're right. If they ain't gang up on him, anybody coming at him and being that he's an MMA fighter, I'm sure they all knew he was an MMA fighter, so they probably had to gang. That's even if they did it. You know what I mean? So you don't know. But the other big story I want to talk about is right now is I got to talk about the home run derby real fast because I want to move on and get that out of the way. The home run derby's tonight, Talent. Everybody's talking about Shohei Ohtani because Japanese home run hitter leading the major leagues right now with 33 home runs. People are saying this dude is supposed to be all of that. When I tell you all of Japan is tuning in tonight, Major League Baseball has even come up and said they have not even expected the bombardment of the press and people who are tuning in. That it's something they've never seen. Surprised?
No, not surprised at all. I mean, you're talking about we talk about baseball all the time, and when we talk about baseball, Big always emphasize how boring it can be or whatever. The most exciting thing in baseball, period, is home runs.
Yeah.
So the home run derby, no, I'm not surprised at all, baby. We talking home runs.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Fake. What you think?
All I'm gonna say is this: chicks love the long ball. The home run derby is going to be extremely exciting because there's going to be nothing but long balls in the stadium.
Okay. All right. Now, next thing we got to talk about is Talent. I don't know if you saw the UFC fight over the weekend. I didn't see it happen so damn fast. By the time I get ready to tune into it, it was over. Dustin Poirier won. Now they're talking about getting ready to have a fourth fight. I don't know how the rules go. That's why we got to get one of these UFC experts in here. I don't know how the rules go and everything else. I think the fight should stop when you break something and everything else. And because he just planted his foot down and he broke his ankle, Conor McGregor. It wasn't like Poirier broke his ankle. He planted his foot down and he broke his ankle and he automatically lost the fight. I'm just happy I didn't pay for it and everything else because I'd have been upset. What's your thoughts, Sam?
You know what comes to mind? The phrase "get to step." yo, man. First of all, I think he need to go ahead and just. It's almost time, It just ain't his thing, man. He's lost the last 3 or 4 fights, and in an awkward way. But if you watch the fight, I mean, dude was putting it to him anyway. I mean, yeah, he broke it, planting it, and everything. But it's not a good look, bro. When you lose 3 out of 4, you got the loudest mouth in the industry. And it's just showing that you're not backing it up. If you're that weak that your foot can't support you, I don't know if you guys watch these fights. You know they're barefooted, right?
Yeah.
If you're shit that weak barefooted in a barefooted fight, I tell you one thing. I don't know a lot of the rules. I know that rule. You got to come in there barefoot. Can't wear no sneakers.
Yeah. That's one of the stuff.
I think he does, Frank. I think he does.
Hey, if you all want to join the conversation, all you got to do is click that link up there. You can ask your question to Talent. You can ask your question to Fig. Or, you could say whether you agree or disagree, because that's what we're trying to do up in here. Fig, talk to me. Tell me what you think about the Dustin Poirier, Conor McGregor fight. What you think?
I think what happened was, as I was watching the interviews earlier, I think McGregor threw a kick so hard, and he kicked Poirier, and you heard a snap at that point. And then he tried to continue with the fight. And when he stepped back to put the extra pressure on it, that's when his leg snapped. But they continued fighting, which was the funny part. Man, it's just like the craziest thing in the world. Then Conor screaming out like, yo, the doctor stopped the fight. The doctor stopped the fight. Like, I didn't lose. Like, you was getting beat down before the doctor stopped the fight. It's just like you in the fight and you losing. You like, yo, somebody break it up.
you know who the doctor was? The doctor was Joe Biden.
Hilarious. Let me keep this conversation rolling, man, because we got a lot of stuff we want to cover, man. The other thing that happened over the weekend, actually last night, is Naomi Osaka won the Athlete of the Year. Man, I was like, wow, kudos to that young lady. If you got a chance to watch any ESPYs and everything else now, I saw some of the ESPYs. I didn't tune into the whole thing, but I was blown away with Naomi Osaka winning especially since the ESPN reporters picked her to win that, because I thought they had a huge problem with her not, talking about certain issues and not addressing mental health. But she did. They loved it. She won Athlete of the Year. Talent, your thoughts?
Well, I think like anything else, man, I think there's a personal side of things and there's a business side of things. I think everybody knows in their mind of minds and in their sanity and knowing the sport, they know she deserves that and she's that type of person, an athlete. I think the other stuff that she's going through becomes real technical and businessy. You know what I mean? For the business part of it, yeah, we want you to do X, Y, Z. We're gonna act like we don't understand that, or we're gonna appreciate, the whole mental thing and time off and all that. Right now, we got to give it to you. You know what I mean? I think that it's the ESPYs, man. You got to look at the big picture and not the little picture. Those little pictures of business, that's different.
Right. But I think kudos needs to be given to her for at least putting a shining bright light on mental health issues. I mean, I think
absolutely.
And kudos goes to ESPN for backing behind her. Wouldn't you say, Fig?
Yeah, man, I definitely, sometimes these awards give me pause as to why they're giving out and stuff like that. I mean, this lady is a phenomenal athlete. She's at the top of her craft, and then she bows out, and then she gets a gift, almost like a consolation prize, because it's like she bowed out or stepped out of the competition because of the media barrage. And at first people were attacking her, and now all of a sudden they're giving her you know, an award in hindsight, I don't know, man. To me, it's almost like hypocritical. On the one hand, you're attacking the young lady for having, you know, mental health issue and not wanting to continue, and then you're going to give her an award at the end of it. It's almost like to say, I'm sorry.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. Now, let's be honest. A year ago, if this had been somebody else, I think they would have been more critical. But because it's her, she's young, she's a teenager. Well, she just got out of her teens. I think people are paying more attention to it. But if it had been LeBron James, I like using him.
Oh Lord,
we would have been talent. We would have been destroying LeBron. Let's be honest. Talk about mental health. We'd have been destroying him. Am I wrong, talent?
Nope, absolutely right. But again, I think age is a big part, Frank. I think that there's only so far you can bash somebody, athlete or not, in the media with, you know, how old they are. We have to be extra cautious and careful. Just like we said earlier in the show about the guy touching the boys. It's like it came out 2 years later. You're like, why 2 years? Well, we have to respect that with the youth. You know, when it comes to the adults, people hold no punches sometimes. They put their foot on that gas and they want to bring you down. They bring you down.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Fig, what do you want to respond to that? Because if it had been LeBron James, man.
Like, you can't treat this dog like my other dog. The big dog, you can't treat this dog.
Yeah, you can't. You can't.
Yo, Tyler, you getting mad points right now.
Look at the guy.
Yo, it's kind of funny, you know, because LeBron James did have one of those moments, man. When he was in Cleveland going up against your team, Frank, they said before the finals he had to be sedated, you know, before the games. And, you know, if you got to be sedated, it means something's going on with you mentally. They don't really sedate you because you having a physical problem. You know, that's being sedated is usually like a nervous breakdown or a mental break. And, you know, I mean, they hit him a little bit, but, you know, it was no heavy barrage. I mean, when you bring up the fact that, you know, people say, well, you know, he's better than Jordan and all this stuff like that. You say, well, they bring up stuff like that. Well, you know, he had a meltdown. You know, he had to be sedated before the finals and stuff like that. I mean, I've heard that.
Well, that was 10 years ago, 12 years ago. This is 2021. At the time, this country wasn't even ready to even hear that. You know what I mean?
Not at all.
We weren't ready to hear that. Now we can take it and we can say, okay, yeah, we're more accepting of it. I don't know if we're softer. I don't know. Hey, if you all want to join the conversation, you can hit that link. I'll bring you up. You could ask talent. You could ask Fig what you think. Hey, you could even cuss me out if you want because you think I'm crazy. Whatever you want to say, you can do that. You know, I'm leaving the door open to all y'all. But let me just throw this out there too.
Hey, I'd like to cuss you out.
Okay, go ahead.
I'd like to cuss you out for always disagreeing with my top dogs.
Did he do it again?
Yes. That's a Friday cuss out. That's a Friday cuss out. Don't forget about that. But talent, his top dog last Friday was probably the best one yet. Honestly, it was the best. You know, I couldn't cuss him out the way I wanted to. I was like, check it out, talent. I was like this. You know how you do you know how you put your finger in like, yeah. But he had good. You know, Friday was one of them days when he could have had like at least 8 top dogs. You know what I mean? Friday, right. So he couldn't have gone wrong. But speaking of top dogs, Nigeria upset Team USA. When I saw that, right, I had to look at the highlights. One of the highlights was Kevin Durant was going up for a dunk and got mashed in the dunk, mid-dunk in the air. And we need to give kudos to Mike Brown. Mike Brown coached the Team Nigeria. He had 4 NBA players on Team Nigeria. And I think now people are going to start paying attention more to some of these African boys playing ball because Team Nigeria upset Jason Tatum, Kevin Durant. You know, the roster was Bradley, all these boys was balling.
Damian Lillard.
All of them. You got all of them. You just go down the list. The roster, Team USA. Nigeria beat them.
Let me tell you my favorite part. My favorite part was the post-game interview where Popovich sitting there and Jason Tatum in the back. I said, yeah. This looks familiar, Frank. This looks like that year that the American team underachieved.
Mm-hmm.
That year in the Olympics that let us all down. I know it's just an exhibition game, the pre-games, but let me tell you something, bro. The word Nigeria ain't never been in the same sense as it's whooped America's ass.
Yeah, no.
So, this is deja vu. This looks bad. I can see it. Usually, even when the bad team lost, they was losing to like Spain. These teams that go hard with the sport of basketball. But hey, I guess Nigeria has arrived, bro.
Listen, Nigeria arrived because 10 years ago, they got beat by USA by 83 points. They ain't having that no more. It's not happening.
You ain't never heard them together, but
yeah.
Hey, man.
Big, what's your thoughts? Nigeria upset Team USA.
You know what's funny, man? It's only a matter of time before the rest of the world catches up. And here's the thing. The people playing in the NBA, a lot of them are from, Africa, Nigeria. I mean, I would imagine that that if Giannis wasn't in the finals this year, then he might have played for Africa, man, because that's where his roots are. I mean, his family migrated to Greece because of some less than cool situations because they needed to survive. But that's where he's from. There's a lot of talent in Africa, man. I mean, pretty much that's our roots. I mean, that's where our lineage goes back to. So it's not a surprise to me that they're finally catching up with the United States of America. And like you said, Nigeria team has NBA players on it.
You know what's going to happen? This is what's going to happen. We made a big splash in 92 when Team USA came and they destroyed everybody. And then there was a big splash when Team USA lost and got the gold? No, they lost and got the silver. There's a big splash. There's going to be even a bigger splash when, mark my words, whenever this happens, there's going to be a bigger splash when Team USA doesn't even get in the top three. Because it's going to happen one year. You know what I mean? The way the Africans are playing, the way the Yankees are playing, everybody's getting better all around the world. And like Fig just said, people are coming into the league right now in the NBA who know how to ball. You know what I mean? They know how to ball. It's going to happen.
I mean, don't make no mistake about it. These people that are originally from other countries, even though they play in the NBA and these different professional leagues, they go home for the Olympics, bro. Yeah. So if you got 10 dope-ass Nigerians that's playing, spread around the NBA, when it comes Olympic time, them 10 go home to Nigeria, bro.
Yeah, man. Think about it. We had Dikembe Mutombo. We had Hakeem Olajuwon. I mean, right now, what's the boy? He got injured for the Clippers. I can't think of his name right now, but another one, Serge Ibaka.
Yeah, let's not forget either that the NBA just started an African league too. They did that for this sole purpose because they know there are players in Africa as a continent who are balling out. We just talking about Nigeria. We ain't even talking about Ghana. We ain't talking about any other countries that these
Mozambique.
Yeah, I mean any of those countries. There's a whole bunch of countries out there where these boys are balling. So I expect
Zimbabwe.
Yes. Y'all can crack jokes.
Why we gotta say it like that? Zimbabwe.
Yeah. And my favorite.
Y'all won't be saying too many jokes when you be saying that when Fig just said beat the USA. Like
when they holding up that trophy, we're gonna look like Jason Tatum.
Yeah, it's like how I be on the Team USA when they lose this. They got this first big major loss. How I do that. So, Tal, let me talk to you. I want to talk about a little bit about baseball before I talk about the NBA. I got to talk about your team, boy. The Yankees lost horribly to the Astros again. They lost, and I'm talking about horribly again, not to the Astros again. I'm just saying it's been like 4 or 5 games in the last month. The Yankees have been up by 5, 6, 7, 8 runs, and the team comes back and beats them. When are they going to fire the manager? What's going on to the Yankees? Talk to me, Tal. What's going on?
Well, I mean, I could be wrong, but when you get up on a team, that means your bats are hitting. You got some hitting going on. But when the team comes back, correct me if I'm wrong, but that other than errors, that's bad pitching.
Yeah.
If they're touching that pitch and hitting that ball and able to come back 4, 5, 6 runs down, we got to do something with the pitching. Yeah, of course, coaching is in there and managing is in there, but that pitching is getting smacked around. Unless you look at the stat box and there's a ton of ERA, you know what I mean? Like errors all over the place. So we got to get some pitching, bro.
Yeah, some
The
reliable
bats are connecting, but there's no other side.
Yeah. So, Fig, the Yankees were up eight runs, and now, of course, it's leading all the news because it was against the Houston Astros, who were in Yankee Stadium and was mocked by all the fans ridiculously. So, of course, they mocked them back, pulling off the shirts and all that, saying, "Hey, you know what I mean?" What's your thoughts on this, Fig?
This rivalry started with a lot of cheating from the Houston Astros. You know what I mean? But talent is right. The Yankees, their nickname is called the Bronx Bombers, which means they smacked the cover off the ball, knock it out of the park, enough to be up 8 runs, but lost it all in the 9th inning, which means the pitcher is suspect. So instead of spending all that money on the bats, you're going to have to spend some money on pitching if you want to win, because it ain't all about offense, man. You got to keep the other team from scoring. And they scored all of those points in the 9th inning, which is ridiculous. That points directly to your pitching core. So you got to tighten that up. Yankees, let's go.
Yeah, man. You know, one thing I know in Boston and New York, when you lose like this, your job is in jeopardy. I think if this was a Red Sox manager, he would have been fired by now. I think he's getting a little bit long because it's New York. You know what I mean? It's Aaron Boone. People like Aaron Boone because, obviously that home run he hit against the Red Sox, what was it, in 2003? You know what I mean? He saved the Yankees, 7th and 9th inning, last at bat. The Yankees went on. I think they went on to win the World Series that year. He just saved. So I think his name is carrying him a little longer. You know what I mean? But I think I can't hear you, Talent. But if it hadn't been his name, I think he'd been fired by now.
Hell yeah, bro. I mean, that's obvious. Some nostalgia there that's keeping him there a little longer, because we all know that we both in cities, we are in these impatient metropolises.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When it comes to sports, these metropolises like Boston and the LAs and the New Yorks and Chicago, they don't have that kind of patience. But his connection, yes, it's nostalgia. He's attached to some championship stuff, and that'll keep your job a little longer. Even when they fire you, they kind of half fire you. They'll be like, okay, go do that job. Don't, you're still in the building, but this guy's going to take over these duties. And you go over there. They kind of cushion you out when you have that kind of history and connection, but it's time to go.
What you think, man?
He keep losing like this. Aaron Boone is going to hear another kind of boom. When he's on the train, he's going to be like, boom, boom. That's the boom he's going to hear. Watch the closing doors, please. They're going to get him up out of the Bronx. They're going to get him up out of the Bronx, boy. You keep losing like that. We do not like losers.
Real fast, too. They don't play with that. Real fast. All right, now let's talk about the NBA, man. Okay, so now the game happened. We now have 3 games to look at. You got 3 games, of all the things. Now, the third game, let's be honest, the Phoenix Suns, DeAndre Ayton, he got in foul trouble. Devin Booker, he shot terribly. He didn't play the whole fourth quarter at all. He didn't play none of the fourth quarter. No. Of course, when that happens and Giannis is playing like a beast, Milwaukee is going to walk over you. They're going to walk over anybody. If your team gets in foul trouble and your guards are not playing well, they're going to walk all over you. So that's what happened. Milwaukee Bucks won, and they pulled away in the fourth quarter. It wasn't even close in the fourth. Honestly, I got bored to tears by midway through the fourth. I was sitting like this, like, okay, yeah, I expect this to happen. I knew it was going to happen. I wasn't surprised. I don't know who picked, the Suns in 4 because they were smoking. But what's your thoughts when you saw this, Talent? What's your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I just, to me, it went back to regular. In this thing here, there is no shock when the home team wins. I expect that if the other team, that's why they call it like an upset, because in this type of thing, the home teams are great in their homes. The second thing is, this was a classic Greek Freak game where he scored over 30. When he goes over 30, usually they're demolishing you. 41. And I think 16 boards or 13 boards, something like that. Like, he was in classic Greek Freak fashion. When you keep him in that 20, 24 range, the team be suspect, man, because the last couple of games that he had 20-something, there was only 3 guys or 4 guys in double figures, but they were low double figures, like 12 and 14. When he got 41, bro, everybody could have 10, 12 points.
Yeah. Fig, what's your thoughts on this before we jump into the conversation about it? What's your thoughts?
Hey, man, I'll just say this. Milwaukee finally woke up and realized that they were big.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yo, man, you guys, most of y'all are close, like 3 of y'all are close to 7 feet tall. You got Bobby Portis, you got Lopez, and you got Giannis. Most of y'all are 7 feet tall. They got one dude, DeAndre Ayton, period. If y'all keep banging the boards, eventually one thing is going to happen. Either DeAndre Ayton is going to get tired or he's going to be in foul trouble. And I think that's what they did. Giannis wasn't trying to dribble all the way up the court and go 1-on-5. He was getting the ball on the block where he can make his move from closer to the basket. Lopez was doing stuff in the paint. Bobby Portis was doing stuff in the paint. The one thing that confused me about the game is when DeAndre Ayton went out of the game and they went small, Milwaukee still decided to jack up 3-pointers. And Lopez wasn't in the game. Budenholzer, I question his intelligence sometime, man. I'm like, they small. Why wasn't Lopez in the game? Why wasn't all 3 of your dudes, Lopez, Bobby Portis, and Giannis in the game when DeAndre had to go sit on the bench? Because that's where your strength is. That's where you're winning.
I don't know, man. The NBA game has changed now where they all starting to shoot threes and everything else. Here's a question I got for you, Talent. Kendrick Perkins picked a couple of weeks ago when the NBA finals were starting, and he was, all on this and everything else. He said Giannis is like Robin. You know what I mean? He said he's not the Batman of the team. Now, of course, after game 3, Giannis has now got 2 consecutive 40-point games in the NBA and everything else. So when you hear stuff like this made by ex-NBA players and everything else, what's the thought that runs through your head? Because I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of times I say sometimes like these dudes, they may have played the game, but they look at the game completely different. And then they hire these guys out of era dudes. You know what I mean? Like out of era. Because when Kendrick Perkins was playing, it was a different era of ball at the time. You know what I mean? Versus now. He wasn't ball banging with Jordan and them, but he came in the era right after that when all the fouls and stuff were coming down. You know what I mean? It wasn't set that it was physical. Not as physical as it is, as it was back in the 80s and 90s. But I think he's out of touch. I'm sorry to say that, bro. I think he's out of touch because I'm like, what the hell are you talking about?
First of all, here's the thing. The commentators are always going to be out of error because the ones who's in error, they playing. So you got to grab the guys that's not playing. And the few exceptions to that rule who may be young enough, maybe journeyman and filter out the league early or injuries take them out or whatever the case may be. There's a lot to be said about intelligence and articulation too. So they got to find guys or at least try to attempt because he's not the most articulate. But you have to try to find these guys and girls that they're no longer playing, but they can be analysts and commentators and articulate and get their point across. My only problem with like a Perkins is when you get these guys to me who in the game are one-dimensional or role players, and you want to talk the broad spectrum with these guys, I don't really trust their opinion on the broad spectrum. You know what I mean? It's like a Dennis Rodman. If you got Dennis Rodman as a commentator, and we're talking about the Chris Pauls and the Kemba Walkers and passing the ball and the floor in general, I'm looking at him like, the hell does he know about that?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? His job was grab that off the board. He didn't do anything else. He was a specialist at one thing in the game. So when I go to ask him about other things, it's like asking a scorer who can't play a lick of defense and you have him on the defensive hour. So this hour we're gonna talk defense. With us is, shoot 'em up Rodney. And this dude never stopped nobody. So the hell you know about defense?
Bro, that's almost as bad as ESPN when they ask an NFL player about NBA. I can't stand that. I can't stand that. I sit there. Why are you asking a player who never played the sport his opinion?
Shannon.
Yeah, thank you. Who cares? Like yeah, Shannon Sharp is a big one. I do. What the hell you know about basketball? Nothing. You know as much about basketball as I do. You know what I mean? But Big, what's your thought on that? What talents is it?
You know, Perkins' commentary, man, is just it. Sometimes to me, it's like who he likes. You know what I mean? And that's pretty much who he talks about. He's a big fan of LeBron. So is Shannon Sharp, and you know their analysis of the game. Sometimes to me, just it makes me scratch my head. I'm like, what? What you like? What game are you watching? Giannis as a Batman or a Robin? He's definitely a Batman, and to me, he does have some deficit in his game. I mean, you know, so did Shaq. So did Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So did all big men that play center position. The vast majority of them had some weaknesses in their game, especially when it came to dribbling and bringing the ball up and stuff like that. Giannis does a decent job, but Giannis is more Shaq than he is Kobe, Jordan, or Steph Curry or what have you. He's closer to Shaq. He's closer to a center. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, you know, the Dream Olajuwon. That's who Giannis is, but he's definitely a Batman. He just needs somebody else to do their job.
You know what he could have said that would have made him look like a genius? If he had to use the Batman reference, he could have said, you know, this is like Batman early on in the beginning of the movie when he's not playing well. But don't worry, give him some time. He's going to end up coming playing well. But him to have to say that nah, you know what, after game one, you know, and after the last series, yeah, Giannis is like, he's not a Batman. He's a Robin. I was like, dude, I don't know what games you watching, but when that dude picks up steam, you're going to regret what you're saying. And sure enough, he picked up steam. And now people are trying to get, literally people are out there creating campaigns to get Kendrick Perkins fired. Like they want to get him fired because they feel he's doing a horrible job at ESPN. I'm not saying I want him fired, but I am saying that sometimes they shouldn't go to him and ask him everything. Like he needs to stick to local. You know, he needs to stick to local.
Really, Frank?
Yeah, bro. Look it online. You look campaigning right now, being fired because and it might be a lot of Milwaukee fans because they might have been upset. You know what I mean about the comments and everything else. But you know, at the end of the series, he could still look like he could still look like he know what he's talking about. Let's just say Milwaukee only wins one game. Talent. People might look. Oh, maybe he was right. What happens if they only one game? I don't think that's going to happen.
No, that's not going to happen. I mean, but here's what's even more crazy to me. What's more crazy is, and I learned this watching when Bill Walton went into commentating. It drove me crazy because when you have these guys, to go to your point of being out of era, when you have these guys, the problem really is their era didn't get the same amount of money as the next era. So when you listen to a Bill Walton, you can hear the despise, the hate, the animosity when he's commentating and giving his opinion on players and games. Kendrick Perkins sounds like that as well. He's gone removed from the game. These guys are getting these 3, 4, 5 year, 100 million, 150 supermax contracts. He might be a little bitter. He might be a little bitter in this commentary.
He definitely might. He definitely might be about that. Now, let me ask you, Fig, this how you feeling about this next thing about to drop on you? Because it's going to be touchy. Are you ready? You get ready because your seat's about to get hot. I had to prepare him so he can tighten his butt cheeks right about now because he's about to be hot. Kyle Lowry is sitting around and got a phone call from the New York Knicks, bro. He got a call from the Knicks. Now, if they're having a conversation with him, somebody in the Knicks organization must be thinking about the same thing I'm thinking. Big, I know it's tough. It's a tough assignment, but how you feeling about that right about now?
Oh God, man.
Right?
It never fails, man. It's like the history of our organization is to get a guy who seemingly did well in his career when his career is just about over. Amari Stoudemire, who was it? Chauncey Billups, Rasheed Wallace. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. When the guys are just about done, when they got one layup and one jump shot left in their sneakers, the Knicks will hire you for 3 or 4 years and give you a max contract. Kyle Lowry is 36 years old and an undersized point guard. He's smart. He's heady. He has the ability to knock down big shots. But what kind of contract are we going to give a player like that is what gives me pause. Is it going to be a long-term contract and we're going to be stuck with his contract, in the perpetuity for the next 3 to 4 years of these young players' career, like these young players that the Knicks have right now that are coming along? Are they going to be stuck with Kyle Lowry hung around their neck like an anvil?
Talent, will you please tell Fig that getting a veteran presence like Kyle Lowry is not a bad thing for the New York Knicks? Not saying that they're going to sign him for 3 or 4 years, because I don't think they're going to. I don't think they're going to do that. But I do think, let's just say, okay, let's just go with the worst case scenario. Let's say they get him for 3 or 4 years. They still have the ability to be able to say, hey, we're going to give you a 2-year contract with an option of year 3, but we need you to steer this team around right now and jump inside, because we have 7 free agents. We want to bring back some of these young boys, but we need a point guard. Tell him it's not so bad. Talent, talk to me.
I understand where he's coming from as a New York fan, and we lived through this franchise making those horrible decisions and being stuck financially with people who are late in their career. So I get that, but I also can see that I know we need that point guard plugged. So right now, he's still, when you look at, or you can judge somebody on their last season, their last games. He looks really good right now. And again, going into it right now, a veteran point guard, a floor general like him, I'll take him right now. Right now, I'll take him. Like anybody else, no one wants a long-term contract. No one wants to blow a lot of money and big bucks where we put ourselves in the long-term hole again. But right now, he can do nothing but help us in that position. We are sucking in that position.
Yeah,
absolutely. Hey, you know what? I agree with Talent and you too, Frank. I'm not opposed to veterans. We got like Taj Gibson. We got Derrick Rose. We had Bobby Portis. We got rid of one of the Morris brothers. I forget what his I think it's Marquise Morris.
Yep.
We had him on our team. I'm not opposed to veterans. I'm just opposed to older cats coming in wanting max dollars. You know what I mean? Because I think that hurts a team. That's all I'm saying.
Okay,
I know that. I know
it too. But let's stay on one thing. He's better than all those dudes. You know that. But Kyle Lowry he's not playing like he's 36. You know what I mean? He would be closer to Chris Paul balling than he would be any of those guys you mentioned. You know what I mean? He would be much better upgrade than Derrick Rose. Here's the scary thing. If Kyle Lowry was on the Knicks that just played just now, if he was on the Knicks just now, they would have beat Atlanta. They would have beat Atlanta because he would have offset Trae Young. It just would have happened like that. But that's one big thing. The other big thing is, and I hate to be bringing up the New York Knicks again, is because over the weekend, I read the NBA boards and everything else. But Kemba Walker is rumored to go to the Knicks. If they don't get Kyle Lowry, they're trying to figure out a way how they get Kemba Walker. But the issue with Kemba Walker is he's not a free agent. It'd be a trade. So they'd have to figure out who they have to get up to give him. Kyle Lowry is a free agent. He's an unrestricted free agent. They can get him right now and don't lose nothing. Talent. I know we talked about Kemba Walker last week, but it's getting closer and closer to them getting ready to get either Kemba Walker or Kyle Lowry. If you could have one or the other, who are you taking, Talent?
If I had a choice, I'm taking Kemba Walker because he's good for New York morale. He can get the job done. He can score if he needs to. Kemba got a little D in him and everything. But more importantly, the morale he boosts that will come through New York. You think people were hyped this past season? They will be super hyped if Kemba comes home. That's a gaucho boy, man. Give me Kemba all day.
All right, let me ask the bigger New York Knicks fan, bigger than you, Talent. You know what I mean? Let me ask him.
Hey, Talent is like 6'6", man. He's bigger than me.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm not about
listen, I would rather Kemba Walker. Now, my only caveat with Kemba Walker, man, is God, man. Can he stay on the floor? You know, if we could get a Kemba Walker healthy, I love Kemba Walker all day, especially because he can ball out. And he could definitely he's a veteran now. He can help galvanize the troops. Floor generalship, veteran. Like he checks all of the boxes. The one only question I have with Kemba Walker is his health. I would take him over Kyle Lowry any day. I love Kemba Walker.
See, we're gonna finish this argument tomorrow. You just remind me we're gonna finish the argument tomorrow because with me, I would take Kyle Lowry right now over Kemba Walker because he's bigger.
You don't understand.
No, I don't. You know
what the thing is that you saw Kemba Walker in Boston, and when they had a bunch of guys in Boston that could do what Kemba Walker can do. On the Knicks, we have nobody that could do what Kemba Walker could do. So he'll be the only dude at his position. Everybody else will be complementary to what he does.
I understand that too. You also got nobody who could do what Kyle Lowry could do. So you know what I mean? Like Kyle Lowry is coming in tomorrow and change the whole landscape for the New York Knicks. You know what I mean?
He's going to eat a lot of pizza, Frank. That's what Kyle Lowry's going to do.
Yeah, but Kyle Lowry's not going to get boxed down. He's not going to get taken to the basket. He's not going to be – ain't nobody going to push him off the block either. Kyle Lowry is – and not to mention he's the best flopper in the league besides maybe one or two other players. You know what I mean? He get a lot of calls his way too, and he does. He does a lot of charges, a lot of flops and stuff. I think he went to the Manu Ginobili school of flopping. Yes, he did. But he knows what he's doing. He knows how to. He knows how to get
Manu Ginobili went to the Vlade Divac school.
Yes. Vlade Divac was special. He could flop and cry at the same time.
In midair. In midair. Don't forget the in midair part because the tears will be coming down already when he's midair. And you see the tears coming out during slow motion. He's like, that dude used to drive me nuts. Oh my God, that's the show, man. So tomorrow we got to talk about the Washington football team. Their name was about to be the Warriors. They were getting ready to say their name was going to be the Warriors. Of course, the ownership is like, nah. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow. We're going to get some of you chickens sitting at home to go do your hair and join the conversation. So you're going to get, because some of y'all too scared. I see what it is.
Well, it's Monday. Ain't nobody hair done, Frank.
Yeah, that's what it is. Oh, okay. Right.
My hair is beautiful. I don't care what nobody.
Well, that goes without saying. You have the Kool-Aid hairstyle. Just add water.
Not only that, he's always ready for an Essence magazine shoot. We ain't ready for that.
I got that soul glow.
Yeah, you do. All right, y'all, we out of here. Tell everybody out there how they can follow you, brother.
Hey, follow me on Instagram. Please follow me on Instagram, Talent the Comedian, and follow me on Twitter at It's Just Comedy. Facebook, New York King Talent. Either way, follow your boy because it's going down in a few weeks. 30th anniversary. I'll tell you more about it.
There you go, Fig.
Your boy, Comedian Fig on all social media platforms, baby. Box seats, Monday through Friday, 1 to 2 p.m. This is the best damn sports show on TV. Ask your mama. So, Talent, the show's the 30th thing is in 2 weeks, though, right? I want to make sure.
Yep. Okay. Yep, you got 2 more weeks. 2 weeks from Friday, we will be dealing with the 30th, the 31st, and the 1st. You want to be in the building. Everybody's going to be rocking. Check my social media. That's why I say go to Instagram, Talent the Comedian, because the new flyer is out with all the additives, that's on there. Fig, you made the flyer. Fig's face is up on it. He's going to be in the building. My boxy's going to be there. Roxanne Shante, Mr. Cheeks, and Lever, and so on and so on. Comedians galore. Man, can't wait. All right, y'all. We out. We'll see y'all tomorrow. This week we got a big guest coming up. We'll talk about more of that guest tomorrow. We'll let y'all know about that. We out. We'll see y'all. Peace.